could there be, back to your 59.5 comment, Janet, an opportunity to roll some of those funds, if not all of those funds, out of your employer plan and into an IRA?
So, Jerry, let me be very clear. We're not saying that this is the option for you,
Right.
but if you're past 59.5, it likely is an option that you should consider. And the way this works is past age 59.5, if your employer or plan allows, which most of them do, then you have the opportunity to roll over the balance that is in your account to an IRA. Now, you may have a mixture of traditional dollars and Roth dollars in there, meaning pre-tax and post-tax dollars in your account right now. If that's the case, that's okay. They move to a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA, respectively. But what that does is inside of your 401k, you have the limitations that your company has provided to you of those investment choices. And if that's sufficient, okay, fine. If it's not, then you may need, during this time between right now and when you do retire, you may need other investment options available to you. And if you do that, you have the ability to roll that over. There's no taxes. It looks kind of funny on your statement, Scott. Somebody might have, let's say they've got $750,000 in their 401k. And then they get the next statement and it goes to zero, you know.
Right.
But meanwhile, that $750,000 has moved to a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA in many cases. And so you still have that money, and then you turn around on the very next paycheck and you start accumulating in your 401k again. But what that allows you to do, if this is the right fit for you, it allows you to potentially diversify those assets more. And that goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning of answering Jerry's question here, that it doesn't have to be a do I go more conservatively, or do I risk the losses in a down market. There is the ability to really diversify that into what we refer to as buckets, Scott, over the different timeline of when you're going to use those dollars, because many people think about their retirement as a stop sign, not a yield sign. It's like, okay, I've made it to retirement. I'm age 65, whatever it might be for you. I've made it to this point, so now I'm going to pump the brakes on my investments. Well, some of that money you're not going to need for 20 or 25 years. And so we need to still have a long-term mindset with some dollars, and some of that money is your grocery money for the first month that you're retired. So with those dollars, we need to have a short-term mindset. So we've really got to think about how do we balance this out across the remaining lifetime that you have, and how do we invest accordingly for the dollars that you have at that point.
Yeah, so bottom line here, Jerry, it's not about whether it's getting more conservative all in or staying all aggressive or even just spreading it out in a diversification allocation, right? If you just did the 60-40, it is about building a plan. It is about putting together a retirement income plan that specifies down to the dollar. And that's what part of the Ready to Retire process does here at GenWealth, specifying down to the dollar the amount that goes into each bucket, as Janet referred to there, of your retirement income plan. In other words, you're going to have an allocation in bucket 1, bucket 2, bucket 3, bucket 4, and the farther out you go, the more growth-oriented it should be. You have to still believe in equities, even in retirement. To Janet's stop sign point, it's not a stop sign, it's a yield sign. There needs to be a reshuffling of the deck, maybe if you're all in equities, but you still have to have a component. And that plan, the planning process, determines how much goes into that growth strategy, how much goes into the moderate strategy, and how much stays conservative. And you want the powder dry on the money you're spending in the early year of retirement. If you have questions for us today, it's the new question and answer format on the Get Ready for the Future show. We want to encourage you to call or text your question to 501-381-5228. Our thanks to Jerry from Cabot for that question. Again, his question thinking about retirement next year, but worried about the recession, worried about his investments. If you have a retirement income plan in place, what happens with the market and the economy should not determine when you retire.